Mr. Glassman, he's really so spooky. You never notice glass unless it's broken. Mr. Glassman.